These are 10 times Stewie got what he deserved in Family Guy. Starting with the time Stewie let masculinity get the better of him, which led to him getting concussed while playing football in Cop and a Half-Wit. So while at the grocery store, Stewie gets misidentified by a store clerk.
Excuse me, ma'am, your little girl dropped her teddy bear.
What? Little girl?
Honestly, that's a fair mistake. Babies can look kinda androgynous up to a certain age. And Stewie hasn't started growing the facial hair most toddlers have, so you can't blame her for getting it wrong.
Did she just think I was a girl? Why would she think that?
I don't know, maybe she saw you try to throw that feather in the yard yesterday.
Yeah, Stewie honestly doesn't do himself any favors, so he shouldn't be acting too surprised. But you know what this calls for? A little unhealthy overcompensation.
What's up, dudes?
Stewie, what the hell is all this?
Only the most manly thing ever.
A badass skeleton holding a gun? That's what my mind first went to. But nah, Stewie's talking good old-fashioned American football.
Is that a Michael Sam jersey?
Yep, 2 boy names. Doubly masculine.
As Brian and Chris point out, Elton John and George Michael are also double boy names. If he were really serious, he'd have gone with someone with 3 names, like Neil Patrick Harris. I wonder if there's a connection going on here.
I just thought it'd be good to take up a sport. You know, like boys do.
You don't have to play football to prove you're a boy.
Are you kidding? Look at him. He was born to play football. In the role of the ball, of course.
They're not gonna let you play football, Stewie. You're too little.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna be bad news for the other team.
Yeah, bad news as in an impending lawsuit when he inevitably gets his head punted. But despite Brian's warnings, Stewie's excited to give football a try.
Yeah, football, boy stuff, hitting the shower, getting embarrassed, going home to shower.
Yeah, I think he's got the gist of it. But Brian still tries to get Stewie to reconsider.
Yeah, you probably should get him out of there because he's just a little shrimp.
Okay, thank you.
Oh god, a sports mom. If you ever wanted to see a Karen out in the wild, then look no further than these creatures. Just blitzed off a full glass of midday wine and ready to make it everybody's problem.
You know, ballet is great exercise. Maybe you should put short stack in a tutu.
No, you know what, Stewie? Get the hell out on that field.
Well, it looks like Brian's bought into hypermasculinity too. A shame. Stewie probably could have been a pretty good ballerina.
Okay, I guess we'll see who's got the toughest kid here.
Yeah, I guess we will.
Man, do I love it when parents treat their kids like Pokemon. But when it comes time for the game, even the coach doesn't think he should put Stewie in.
I can't play him. He's too little.
Little? Oh, like that car you drive over there?
A lot of big talk coming from a Prius driver. If there are no parking spots left, you could just put Brian's car in your pocket. But his aggression does convince the coach to put Stewie in.
All right, and nobody's blocking.
Oh my god, Stewie!
Aw, baby's first concussion. I'm sure he'll love getting checked for CTE later in life. So now Stewie's lethargic, zonked, and zooted.
Can you see me?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Is anybody gonna answer that telephone?
Sounds like a healthy athlete to me. Get out there and win that Super Bowl.
Well, on TV, if somebody gets hit on the head, you hit him a second time, and that gets him back to normal.
I mean, it's not like you can double concuss someone, right?
Inside. Chris, are you crazy?
Shh, let's just let him sleep this off.
Luckily, Brian makes the right call and takes Stewie to the hospital, apologizing for pushing him to play football.
Oh, it's not your fault. I just have to accept that I'm not a man and I'm never going to be one.
But the coach decides to stop by to instill some machismo into Stewie.
It takes a real man to take a hit like that. Feel better, sport.
I guess Stewie has a little man in him after all. He should probably work on getting him out. But Stewie would struggle to get his foot out of the jungle gym after climbing it to one-up Doug, an 80s guy. So Stewie is fed up with constantly being outshone by his rival Doug.
There must be some way I can finally one-up that guy, and you're clearly looking for cat turds right now.
Well, let's go down the list of what makes boys cool. You can be a really fast runner, or eat something gross, or, and this is a good one, do something really dangerous.
I'm too scared to climb up that high.
Me too, average height kindergartner.
Finally, a challenge that Stewie can rub in his dumb, soon-to-be-killed-off face.
I'll climb up there and get that frisbee. Doug may be afraid, but I'm not.
I probably wouldn't be either if I'd already climbed Mount Everest. Though he's probably not gonna find a dead boy up there to eat. Probably. Maybe. There's always a chance, right?
You're just climbing a jungle gym. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. I pull this off, I go down in history.
The sandbox will remember and speak fondly of this day. For about 5 minutes until snack time rolls around and everyone forgets what even happened. But when the day of the climb comes, Stewie finds he has a little competition.
What do you say, Stewie? A friendly race to the top in front of all these kids?
Forget climbing the jungle gym, they need Stewie and Doug to settle their differences in the Thunderdome.
You realize, Doug, we might die up there today.
Then I'll see you in heck.
Dang, he isn't effing around. So both boys start to scale the structure, and although they end up being neck and neck, it's Stewie who reaches the frisbee first.
Yes! I win!
I wish I could tell you his story simply freeze frames and fades to black, but this is no 80s movie despite the title of the episode.
Oh no! Help! Help!
So Stewie is now stuck, but Doug's being a good sport and sticking it out with him.
Right now, your safety is what matters, and you've got an owie in need of attention.
I know a quick way to fix this. You ever see the movie 127 Hours? But they may have even bigger problems as a big storm begins to roll closer.
Too dangerous to risk going for help now. I think we're gonna have to wait it out, Stewie.
This may turn out to be a good thing, as nothing brings mortal enemies together like a life-threatening situation.
I think I'm just intimidated by your brilliance. Plus, it's so great you've only got 9 hairs.
But Stewie also has his own insecurities to air out.
I've always wanted your approval. But now, tonight, you've given me something much more valuable.
Dang, usually kids need to push each other down in the sand a few times to make this kind of progress. And so, as a symbol of their friendship, Stewie gifts Doug the winning frisbee.
I won, everyone! I won! Other kids, Stewie lost!
I feel like I say this too often in my life, but I knew that child was a snake. But Stewie isn't going to let him have this one, as he manages to free his foot by untying his shoe. Kinda sounds like an hours ago revelation, but oh well.
You were only being nice to get the frisbee.
Sorry, Stewie, but all's fair in love and jungle gyms.
So the two tug of war for the frisbee, causing Doug to slip and Stewie to catch him just in time.
I've got this, my friend. This is when that slick cucumber deep inside of me comes out.
If I were about to die and the last thing I had to hear was a guy talk about his slick cucumber, I'd be pretty mad. But as Stewie's grip fails, both boys accept their fate.
It's been an honor, friend.
Yeah, this is once again a reminder to never take kids seriously. Now, if only this would teach Stewie to stop trying to show up Doug before he gets him killed. Like you said, he's no slick cucumber and he should probably stop trying to pretend to be one. But Stewie would pretend to be rich to impress his new preschool friends, only to get outed as a fraud in the episode Take a Letter. So Lois is having some concerns over Stewie's preschool.
Look what they're serving at snack time.
Is that?
It's dog milk.
Hey, don't knock Dilk until you try it. It makes your bones strong, and you know how much dogs love bones.
I don't want Stewie in that school anymore. It seems like it's really gone downhill.
So Lois enrolls Stewie in the fanciest school money and likely tax fraud can buy, and immediately hits it off with one of the kids.
Hi, I'm Chadley. I've been kidnapped 3 times because I come from money.
That's better than Stewie, who only gets kidnapped by confused quarterbacks. I'm telling you, CTE is no joke, ladies and gentlemen.
Stewie, what would you say to a play date at my house tomorrow?
That sounds delightful.
But it's more than just delightful, it's a whole other fancy word us poor people have never even heard before. Splendiferous.
Your mother seemed nice.
Yeah, I've only met her a couple of times, but yeah.
Stewie is blown away at the level of wealth Chadley's living with, but it's too bad Stewie doesn't have anything like that.
But you probably have even nicer things at your mansion. I'd love to come see it sometime.
If by mansion you mean a 4-bedroom house on the brink of foreclosure, then yeah, Stewie's got one of those.
I can't let him see this dump.
Come on, Stewie. Chadley should like you for who you are. Besides, this place isn't so bad.
Just describe it as rustic or old world inspired. That's how rich people describe their barns that they turn into homes.
What I've got to do is find a spectacular house that I can pretend is mine to impress Chadley.
Luckily, there are a ton of ways to live the life of a rich person for one day. Finally, that Malibu Barbie dream house on Airbnb's time to shine. You just know Stewie's had his eye on that. So Stewie bums a mansion off of a rich social media douche on vacation for his playdate with Chadley.
He posted a picture of his feet in sand. You're a guy, don't do that.
What a...
And why can't men enjoy the heavenly pleasures of covering their feet in sand? If that's unmanly, then just call me Sweaty Clamella.
You know, this is a great house for a party. You can invite the whole class.
I say, that's a brilliant idea.
Sure, the grave you dug yourself wasn't deep enough already, what's a few more feet? So Stewie puts on quite the banger of a party.
Wow, looks like you're actually gonna get away with this, Stewie.
Spoken like someone who is absolutely not going to get away with this.
A group of peers with whom I share so many common interests, and here come the people who live here.
Yeah, you kind of set that one up for yourself. So of course Stewie's classmates are pretty disappointed in him, but mostly because he lied.
Stewie, it's not that you're poor, it's that you lied to us and you're poor.
Yeah, lying is a rich person's game. A game where you don't really ever lose because you have enough money to make any problem go away. But no amount of money can save Stewie from a swarm of steroid-ridden bees, which he created to produce a boatload of honey in the episode Gronkowsbees. So Stewie invites Brian over for a little not desperate at all tea party.
Yeah, you texted me like 80 times. Look, Stewie, I don't have time to sip air and pretend to eat a wooden hamburger patty.
Oh, picking up extra shifts at the lazy unemployed factory, are we? But to Stewie's credit, this is a legit tea party.
Real tea, real milk, and the best honey you'll ever taste in your whole life.
He's not fooling, the honey is good. And what's more, he's a proud bee dad. Or bee mom? He probably flip-flops depending on the mood.
Like a beekeeper?
Yep, Mom missed soccer registration, so this is my weekends.
It's so good, in fact, that Brian thinks Stewie could sell it for a little extra dough.
People at farmers markets would go nuts for this. You know, you could probably charge like $20, $30 a jar.
And of course, Brian wants to get in on it too, because he just brings so much to the table. So if he's going to be working with him, Stewie will need to teach Brian the way of the sale.
Ooh, what do we have here?
Honey, like the sign says.
You really are a people pleaser, Brian. What would really please people is if he got hit by a car again. To be fair though, this is just another setup for Stewie to hit on himself.
I trust that this handsome, young customer knows what he's talking about. Oh my!
But the day of the market finally arrives and things seem to be going well.
Now remember to tell customers that this honey is farm to table.
We're not a restaurant. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but neither do most phrases we say, but we still like saying them. Like I slept like a baby. You mean you woke up every hour screaming and crying for no discernible reason?
Is this a superfood?
Total superfood, full of GMOs.
GMOs are bad.
No GMOs whatsoever.
Farmers market speak is a whole other language that I wish Duolingo would add someday. I need to know how to converse with the people wanting me to spend $10 on an apple.
We've only been here an hour and we're almost totally sold out.
Yes, I didn't see that coming.
But high demand needs to be met with high supply, so Stewie needs to make these bees more productive.
How are we going to do that?
Steroids, Brian.
I see where you're coming from, but the idea of a muscular honeybee terrifies me to no end. Like, look at this thing. You think this is what John B. had in mind when he created bees?
It says this is enough for a horse, so I don't know, how many bees is a horse?
A question our greatest minds and scholars have mulled over for generations.
Well, you can't fit a horse in this box, so I just used the whole thing.
In case it wasn't clear, Brian is not included amongst the greatest minds and scholars for reasons that are quite obvious. But the bees do end up pumping out a ton of honey, among other effects.
Okay, Mr. B, we'll give you the employee discount. After all,
Well, humanity had a good run. Time to bend a knee to the new dominant species on the planet.
And I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords.
Stewie, I have a bad feeling. Oh God, it just ate the other bee!
And it looks like the whole swarm has come to collect, driving Stewie and Brian out of the farmer's market game for good.
I think maybe giving those bees steroids was a bad idea.
Insightful as ever, Brian. But luckily there's a bright pink flowery distraction to get them off their backs.
Meg, come outside. We have pinkberry.
I'm sure she'll be fine. She's probably just happy to have the attention of so many creatures. But if they want to stop them for good, they'll need to take out the queen.
So if she's gone, they'll follow her.
Okay, great, but how are we gonna do it?
Well, a little catapulting action should do the trick. Hopefully Stewie's learned a valuable lesson about messing with nature. Bees don't need steroids to work harder. They just need better incentives like healthcare, competitive pay, and a suitable number of PTO days. But this wasn't Stewie's first foray into steroids, as he himself went on the juice, only to turn into a saggy piece of meat in the episode Stew-Roids. So Stewie's crisis of manhood occurs when he gets his toys stolen by a freshly born Susie Swanson.
Hey, I was playing with that. Hey, come back here. All right, you asked for it.
But Susie's on that breast milk and mashed peas diet, the basis of any butt kicker's diet. You know, in the right scenario, Stewie may have actually liked getting beaten up by a girl. But unfortunately, he's in public and he does not have a humiliation kink that we know of.
Ha! Your kid got beat up by a baby girl.
Well, at least Stewie's taking the beating in stride and definitely not making any excuses.
What was weird was that she was crying, but the way she was standing over me made it look like I was crying.
Oh yeah? Did she poop in your diaper too? So Peter looks to unsissify his son with a little old-fashioned working out.
Uh-oh, spadoodios.
I'm sure he'll blame that bowel movement on Susie too. Luckily, a friendly stranger with a ponytail has the fix to give Stewie a boost.
I got something that'll get him going.
You know you can always trust a product that has what it's called on the front. That's why I only drink beer brand beer and eat cereal brand cereal.
The hell are you do? Whoa! Oh my! Suddenly I'm full of energy!
And so getting the jab from a random guy's needle gives Stewie the drive to hit the weights and reach his peak physical form.
Wow, Stewie, you look like a new man.
Well, will you look at me?
He's got muscles in places scientists haven't even discovered yet. As someone who's related to a few muscles, I know muscles when I see them, and that boy is all muscle.
What the hell happened to Stewie?
Yeah, looks good, doesn't he? Let's see that little Susie Swanson beat him up now.
I think he's lost the plot and forgotten he's talking about a child fresh out of the oven. But at least his son is just one big deltoid now, so that's neat, I guess.
What's going on, B-? What's a heps?
Stewie, you look gross.
Spoken like a dog jealous of an example of the peak male form. Never mind that, Stewie's growth is probably stunted now, and he'll be that same height forever. And now that he's built like a brick house, Stewie starts to throw his weight around the house.
You wanna go? Go? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about go. That's what I'm talking about. First one's on the house.
It was only a matter of time before the roid rage set in. Funny how you can have the look you always wanted and yet still be angry at everything and everyone.
Stewie. Look. Come on.
But all good things must come to an end. I just wasn't expecting the end to be so saggy.
Another day of being huge. Good morning, guns of Navarro. Oh no!
I knew steroids would wear off over time, but I wasn't expecting it to give Stewie the Clayface physique. But there's no one who was looking forward to this moment more than Brian.
You're weak like everyone else. And guess what? There's a toll in the hall now.
But there's at least one upside. Stewie's now part flying squirrel. While that's definitely a positive, I still think looking like a pile of mud wasn't something Stewie was looking forward to. And no, I'm not talking early 2000s rock group Puddle of Mudd, though judging by some of those fits, maybe Stewie is better off looking like liquid dirt. And Stewie would treat Brian like dirt after he builds a robot friend to replace him, only to get replaced by the robot itself in Guy Robot. So Brian's feeling like stand-up comedy isn't what it used to be.
I could do stand-up comedy. All I'd need is a newspaper and this twisted mind.
You know, his brain could be literally twisted, and it would actually explain a lot about him. But Stewie says today's comedy isn't found on stage, it's found on Twitter.
Stand-up is so 20 years ago. Twitter's only 3 years ago.
What he fails to mention is the number of people on there who think they're comedians but actually aren't. Same with doctors, politicians, critics. You know, Twitter's actually starting to sound like a place specifically built for Brian.
Look, those are cute blurbs, Stewie, but I think I'm gonna put together a real act for real people.
But when it's time for Brian to show his stuff, he bombs so hard that they may have to rename the club the Manhattan Project.
Hey, sorry I was late getting here tonight. I was caught in gridlock. And then I left Congress.
Somehow, Brian discovered a silence that is deafening at the same time. So to salvage this dumpster fire, Brian resorts to reading Stewie's tweets to the audience, which is honestly where I thought stand-up comedy was going to be by now.
I kind of feel like we should wait to hear Adele's ex-boyfriend songs before we choose sides.
But Brian and funny are two words that don't really belong together, so Stewie decides to do some investigating.
You caught the show?
You bloody thief! Every joke you told up there was stolen from me!
Hey, Brian's just embracing the spirit of Twitter. Pretty soon we'll have no idea where any joke comes from, because it'll have been repeated a million times on different accounts. Isn't the internet neat?
You know what? That's it. You and I are no longer friends.
But instead of finding a real friend, Stewie decides to just go ahead and build one.
He's a human mind model adaptive supercomputer. I've even programmed him to learn and grow smarter. His name is Lyle.
Stealing jokes from Twitter, using robot AI to talk to us like a friend. This episode really was ahead of its time, and I wish I meant that as a good thing. So Stewie and Lyle soon become best friends, but it becomes clear that Lyle's intelligence is expanding rapidly.
The credit is yours, Stewie. It was you who programmed me to grow exponentially smarter.
Ah, I suppose you're right.
Buckle up, Stewie, because pretty soon you'll be filling the role of the dumb friend. Every friend group has one, and I'm sure the discussions all of you will have with your friend groups won't draw any blood. And before long, Lyle pulls a Stewie himself.
I'm sorry, but I've outpaced your intelligence. I needed to create some friends who are my cognitive peers.
Now see, Lyle built 2 robots. That's how you know he's smarter than Stewie. Subtle storytelling techniques. I, too, am smart.
Stewie, I'm afraid I no longer have time for a friend of your simple ways. I must ask you to leave.
But Stewie tries to earn his place in the friend group by fulfilling their ridiculous requests, like chugging a bottle of salad dressing.
It's so salty! Chunky right when you don't want it to be!
You hear that, YouTube? It's salad dressing. Don't go hit me with a strike for this. And when Brian finds Stewie being forced to live in the toilet, he finally apologizes for his joke thievery.
It was a rotten thing to do. You may not want me back as a friend, but you deserve better than those robots.
And nothing reaffirms a friendship like brutally destroying a few robots. Highly recommend it, very therapeutic.
They're incredibly intelligent and getting smarter by the minute. I designed them to be constantly adapting.
It's done, I sprayed them with a hose.
So what Stewie just learned is that age-old adage. You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't build a robot with constantly expanding intelligence because it'll eventually dump you for other robots of similar intelligence. I learned that in elementary school. And Stewie would learn not to mess with Meg, as his acting out causes her to aggressively put him in timeout in Peter's Lost Youth. So Lois and Peter are going out of town and they're leaving Brian in charge for the weekend.
And while we're gone, Brian's in charge. Where is Brian?
What's up?
If that disgusting smile doesn't scream responsible adult, I don't know what does. But Meg, being the outspoken 18-year-old that she is, questions why she isn't the one put in charge.
Believe me, Meg, you want me in charge. Stewie can be a bit of a handful.
He's right, you know. I'm a total Taurus.
Which means Meg needs to be careful because Stewie could be horned up at any minute. Wait, that's not what because he's a bull. Just forget I said anything.
All right, fine. Meg, while we're away, you can be in charge.
But if you think Stewie's gonna make this easy for Meg, then you don't know Jack. You really should, though. Jack's a cool dude.
Hey, by the way, I'm gonna flush your retainer down the toilet.
But Meg isn't gonna let that little shower deter her as she steps up to be the world's best big sister.
Let's pick out a cute shirt for you. Then I thought we can go to the park.
Sounds nice, but here's a counteroffer.
I press my butt against the wall and duke on it.
Stewie, don't do that!
You know, I always thought the room could use a bit more earth tones, but I don't think this is what I had in mind. Meg must feel the same because she starts polishing her iron fist.
You just earned a timeout.
Oh, what? Let go of me!
Don't you walk away.
You think Meg's gonna let the baby walk all over her like the rest of the family? Nah, she means business.
I take abuse from everybody around here, but I am not gonna take it from you.
So Meg sends him to toddler jail, aka a timeout. And based on how she's talking, she sounds like one of those evil wardens from many a prison movie.
And if you move one muscle before then, I'll smack you in your weird head.
Hey, it's not weird.
Oh, Stewie, my sweet, innocent, oblivious summer child. It's weird, dude. And it's not long before Brian finds him suffering.
Brian, Meg's lost her mind. You've got to talk to her.
Stewie, Lois put Meg in charge.
Plus, Brian just ate a pot cookie. How is he supposed to care about the struggles of Stewie on Earth when his brain's about to be out of this world?
Brian, please, I need help.
Totally.
So it looks like Stewie will have to handle this situation himself.
All right, that's it. I'm not just going to sit here and see what that psycho does next.
So he runs away, which seems to be every child's reaction to not getting their way. Kids, don't do that. You probably don't even have a bank account, a 401k, or a Roth IRA. They'll eat you alive out there. And speaking of eating, Brian wants to know if he can eat the grilled cheese he found.
Don't eat that, that's Stewie's lunch. Oh my god, Stewie! I forgot he's been in a timeout for 6 hours.
And judging by the lighting outside, I'd say we're far past lunch.
Oh no, where is he? He's gone! I'm gonna be in so much trouble.
They look for him until the sun rises, but can't seem to find him anywhere. I don't want to be a downer, but statistics show that he's probably dead by now. The right thing to do now is divvy up his things and think of the best way to repurpose his room.
Hey, what's this, a weed convention?
Stewie!
Oh, thank God you're home.
False alarm, we'll talk about how to handle Stewie's death another time. But even though he's back, he's still afraid of mean old Meg.
She's scary and mean, and I don't ever want her to be in charge of me.
Are you afraid of me, little guy?
That might be a side effect of threatening to slap the silly out of him, but I'm no child expert. But Meg assures him that she'll never do that to him again, which finally convinces him.
Can you forgive me?
Well, all right.
Still, I hope Stewie learned his lesson here. He sees how the rest of the family treats Meg. When the parents are gone and no one's around, she's got free range to let those frustrations out, and you do not want her sights set on you. And when Stewie set his sights on exposing the conspiracy that is nap time, he ended up getting scared so badly that he developed split personalities and White Meg can't jump. So Stewie's busy watching YouTube, the best and totally not overbearing media site around.
You should really be careful on YouTube, Stewie. You never know what's gonna pop up next. I mean, there's some wild stuff out there.
Unless, of course, it's one of our videos. In that case, click away, give in to the binging. Don't let these boomers scare you off.
Joe Rogan interviews Boss Baby. Goodnight Moon, fact or hoax?
Sure, YouTube will let that play on their site. Meanwhile, if we have a picture of Peter shirtless on screen for more than a second without a censor, YouTube immediately targets a missile at my house.
The truth about naps. I hate naps, and I love the truth.
Especially the truth that already aligns with what I believe. So Stewie gives it a watch, learning that naps are actually quite sinister.
Naps only exist for the oppression of young children, and as a scam to give parents time to themselves.
Man, kids don't know how good they've got it. I'd kill for a middle-of-the-day nap at my ripe age of... So Stewie decides to skip nap time, which opens him up to a brand new world.
She's scrolling through old photos of herself. This is exactly what the video was talking about.
God forbid a mom doom scroll with a 1 p.m. glass of wine in peace. So Stewie's gone full conspiracy theorist mode, refusing to nap to stick it to... well, he doesn't really know who, but he's sticking it to someone.
Done with naps. My eyes are wide open now, Bri, and they're never closing again.
He must have realized that sleeping at night is just one big, long nap because it doesn't look like he slept at all.
Yes, there are some white lies that parents tell their kids, but that's because it's for their own good.
We've all heard them too. The Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and a good boxed wine. All lies. But there are some lies that Stewie hasn't figured out yet.
Stewie, honey, don't come upstairs for a bit. The floor is lava again.
Again? So this is why that guy was trying to sell Peter volcano insurance all those years ago. Well, Stewie braves the magma, only to find that it's also a lie.
Another lie! That's not deadly lava!
But like Brian said, there's usually a good reason for these lies, and Stewie's about to find that out firsthand.
Stewie, no!
Don't worry, Stewie, they're just wrestling. Their nakedness is for aerodynamic purposes. Well, judging by that happy smile, I'd say he's taken that pretty well.
Stewie's not here right now. I'm Mrs. Padbury Wilkerson. And I'm Boone.
Uh-oh, he's doing a split, but somehow I don't see this turning out to be an Unbreakable sequel by the end.
Stewie, I think your psyche fractured into multiple personalities.
So Brian sits Stewie down to get to the bottom of this, but his many personalities aren't keen on leaving Stewie anytime soon.
It says here that the first thing I need to do is talk to the dominant personality.
But judging how that personality just wants to beat up Brian, I think that's one that can be left suppressed.
Can I talk to someone else? Literally anyone?
I'm Gilbert Gottfried.
So that's where he's been hiding out since he stopped being the Aflac duck. What Stewie needs is an expert, but I guess Bruce will have to do.
I find the best thing to do with multiple personalities is to summon them all and let them work out their differences.
This guy's had like 15 jobs on this show. There's no way he's qualified to do this. After some time, Brian decides to get through to Stewie with yet another little white lie.
It was just Lois looking very closely at the sheets so she could check the thread count.
Sure, and Peter was cheering her on from behind. Let's just go with that, because I don't even want to try to think about it.
I guess I really could use a nap.
Sometimes you just have to trust what your parents tell you. It's in your best interest.
The truth is, we're all a little happier when we lie to each other. After that whole ordeal, I think I could use a nap before I start splitting into different personalities. Angry Clam, Sad Clam, and my favorite, remembers to do his taxes on time Clam. But Stewie's lies about his neck brace would cause him to develop atrophy in his neck in the episode The Dating Game. So even though he's a baby, Stewie's feeling pretty geriatric.
Oh, it's my back. It's killing me.
Yeah, I'm not falling for that hot oil massage bit again.
Well, can you blame a baby for trying to get rubbed down by his dog? But this isn't a bit, as Stewie really is in a lot of pain.
I must have jacked it up playing sports and not trying to dance like Beyonce.
You should never try dancing like all the single ladies without the proper training and adjustments. I shudder to think of all the backs that get broken in a year from people not putting a ring on it.
Dr. Hartman, were you able to tell anything from Stewie's x-rays?
Oh, yeah. Little guy's got scoliosis.
Let this be a warning to you all. Next time you're hunched over working on your time machine or weapon of mass destruction, make sure you're exhibiting correct posture.
But don't worry, he'll be fine. He just needs to wear this brace for a while to correct it.
Oh, dear.
Not the most flattering of accessories, but if there's one thing Stewie can do with an outfit, it's work it.
All right, take a gander. Gawk at the elephant man. Let's get it all out.
But in actuality, the brace earned Stewie a lot of sympathy and special treatment from his class.
And just for being such a trooper, I thought maybe you could be the first in line for snack today.
That's like the toddler equivalent of winning a Purple Heart. Stewie could certainly get used to being treated like God's greatest gift.
Now if I could just find someone to wear this hero hat. I think I found him.
Thank you for your service, Stuart.
People giving you a hard time?
Quite the contrary, Brian. Apparently, people love the wretched.
But of course, why else would all those reality shows about people who are famous for being loud and dumb get millions of viewers? Unfortunately for Stewie, it seems like his gravy train is about to come to a stop.
It appears the back brace has corrected the spine very nicely.
That's wonderful. Stewie doesn't have to wear the brace anymore.
Oh no, that means Stewie will have to make people like him with his personality. Just pull the plug now, it's over for him.
You want to keep wearing the brace?
Of course I do. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
So Stewie continues to wear the brace to reap all the benefits that come with it, like cutting in line.
Excuse me, I have scoliosis. Excuse me, scoliosis coming through.
Back brace or not, they shouldn't just let him push people around. They could probably just put him on his back and he wouldn't be able to stand up. Problem solved. But Stewie may have monkey's pawed himself into some bad luck with the brace.
What's happening to me?
Oh my God, Stewie! It's gotta be from wearing that damn brace all the time.
That, my friends, is a little thing we call atrophy. Basically, Stewie's neck lost the strength to support his head, so now he's got to get used to seeing the world from a 90-degree angle.
Is it noticeable?
Oh, nothing that can't be fixed with a string of chili pepper Christmas lights.
Fixed is being a little generous there, but at least he's harder to hit with the car at night now. So Stewie flew a little too close to the sun with his newfound popularity, and now his body's paid the price. Honestly, his neck was bound to give out at some point with that big head if he wasn't careful. Forget skipping leg day, this guy cannot afford to skip neck day. And when Stewie decided he could no longer skip over his plans for world domination, it led to him being put down for good by his parents in the episode Lois Kills Stewie. But first, a recap of what happened in the previous episode to get us here.
Stewie killed Lois!
Then what?
Peter got blamed!
Then what?
Peter went to court!
Then what?
Lois came back!
Ow.
Wasn't really dead!
Got it? Good, let's move on. So Lois returns from being presumed dead to warn the town about the evils of Stewie.
Mom, Stewie's just a baby.
No, he's not, Meg. He's evil.
Oh, so every toddler with a gun is suddenly evil? I'm sorry, I thought this is America, where I have the right to put a gun in a baby's hand at the age of a fetus. Anyway, Lois explains what happened after getting shot, going on an amnesiac journey from fat camp counselor to accidental white supremacist.
You know, it's remarks like that that started the Holocaust, and I know none of us want that to happen again.
Well, that bottle to her head gave her memory back. This is certainly the most positive thing to come out of attending a meeting like that, at least.
So, what you're saying is we've got a homicidal baby on our hands.
Mom, Dad, Stewie's gone!
Just like a baby to move faster than its stubby legs should allow. I can never keep up with them. I've already lost like 7. I am not a good babysitter. But don't worry, he didn't go far.
How long you been all messed up and evil like this?
Oh, so now you're interested in Stewie?
Look, babies say a lot of nonsense. How are they supposed to know you'd actually follow through on your babbling? So Stewie continues to hold the family hostage, and an unfortunate Cleveland drop-in leads to tragedy.
Hey, Griffins, just checking in.
Holy crap!
Well, I guess we're gonna have to give Joe the spin-off. Something tells me it would be significantly sadder.
Ah, well, there goes my smile.
So Stewie forces Brian to drive him to an unknown location, and back at the house, the family stumbles across Stewie's weapons cache.
Wow, look at all this cool stuff!
Oh, so a baby having the firepower of a small nation is cool? It is, for the record. Meanwhile, Stewie and Brian arrive at the CIA, where Stewie seeks to take control of the world's satellites.
Once they're under my control, the entire world will be subject to my whims.
And you know what that means. 24/7 satellite stream of the George Lopez show, baby. You're gonna know every word to Lowrider.
And unless you want me to send you all back to the Dark Ages, you'll do exactly as I say.
What are your demands?
Oh, hey Stan and Patrick Stewart, totally not playing Patrick Stewart. Apparently Stewie's demands are quite simple and reasonable.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the new president of the world.
Greetings, loyal minions.
You know, if you just ignore the whole evil tyrant thing he has going on, he does campaign on some pretty good platforms.
Anyone who sees Peter Griffin must throw apples at him.
Yeah, I'd like to make a deposit. Ah!
But Lois won't stand by and let him wreak havoc on the world, so she gets strapped up and decides to take him down once and for all.
I will not stand by while you make innocent people suffer.
Bring it on.
The two of them must have been trained by stormtroopers because those shots are not landing. But things get physical and bloody real quick, and when Lois finally gets the upper hand, she starts to have second thoughts.
You're still my baby, and I could never hurt you.
Well, that works out perfectly because I can hurt you!
I guess all those bullets and punches didn't count. But before Stewie can fulfill his lifelong mission, Peter comes from downtown with the save.
It's just been revoked.
Is he talking about his witty one-liner card? Because I agree. But it turns out this was simply all a simulation to see what would happen if Stewie did try to kill Lois.
I suppose I'm not ready to kill Lois or take over the world. Yet.
Well, it's been 20-some years now, so I'd probably wager that's not gonna happen. The simulation must have been so lifelike that it scared him off from trying again altogether. But he's got plenty of time. Master the art of using the toilet first, and then we can talk about destroying your mother. And you can master the art of Family Guy by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel to make sure you don't miss any more great Family Guy videos.